So a brutal winter storm just knocked out your power. I've been there. Back in an ice storm a few years back, we were out for 11 days. The wind is howling, the house is getting colder by the minute, and you've got hungry family members starting to look at you. That first feeling of, hey, this is kind of an adventure, starts to fade pretty quick, right? A hot meal would change everything. It's warmth, it's comfort, it's a little bit normal in a crazy situation. But your electric stove and microwave are just expensive bricks right now. So how do you safely cook a hot meal inside? You might be thinking about dragging the charcoal grill onto the porch, but in a blizzard, that's not just a hassle, it's dangerous. And we've all heard the horror stories about people using outdoor gear inside and the tragic results. The fear of carbon monoxide poisoning is real, and it should be. So what are the safe ways? Today, I'm not just going to give you one or two options. I'm walking you through 10 smart and, more importantly, safe ways to cook real food indoors without a single watt of electricity from the grid. We'll cover everything from using stuff you already have to some clever gear you might not have even heard of. We're going to turn a crisis into a cozy, memorable family dinner. So grab a notepad, because this is information every family needs before the lights go out. Number 1. The gas stove top. Alright, let's dive into number 1, and it's the most obvious one for a lot of folks. Your standard gas stove top. If you're one of the millions of people with a natural gas or propane range, you are in a fantastic spot when the power goes out. The clock and the oven light won't work, sure, but the gas itself comes from a totally separate line that almost always stays on. The only thing electricity does for your stovetop is power that electronic ignition, that clicking sound you hear before the flame kicks on. No power, no clicker, but the gas is still there. This is where a little old-school knowledge is a lifesaver. You just need a flame, a long-stemmed utility lighter, a Bic, even a match. The process is simple, but you have to pay attention. First, turn the burner knob to low. You'll hear that little hiss of gas. Don't let it run for more than a couple of seconds. Right away, bring your lighter to the edge of the burner. The gas will light with a soft whoomph, and you've got a flame, just like normal. Now, let's talk safety, because this is critical. Here's the number 1 rule. Have the lighter lit or the match struck before you turn on the gas. You want to minimize the amount of unburnt gas in your kitchen. If you turn on the gas and then start fumbling for your lighter, you can get a cloud of gas that ignites in a dangerous fireball. So, flame first, then gas. If it doesn't light in a few seconds, turn the gas off. Let the air clear for a minute before you try again. And it should go without saying, but you need a working carbon monoxide detector. Gas stoves burn clean, but a malfunction is always a risk. Cracking a window in the kitchen is never a bad idea either. The beauty of this is it requires no special gear. You use your normal pots and pans. You can boil water, make pasta, fry eggs. It keeps things feeling completely normal. The only thing that won't work is your oven, because most gas ovens use an electric part to ignite, and that's dead without power. So, you're on the stovetop, but that's more than enough for a ton of hot meals. Before the next storm, just make sure you've got a couple of lighters in a drawer nearby. It's the simplest prep you can do. Number 2. The wood, burning fireplace. For centuries, the fireplace was the heart of the home. It was the heat, and it was the kitchen. If you have a real, functional, wood-burning fireplace, you've got one of the most powerful off-grid cooking tools imaginable. It's not just a way to cook, it throws off incredible heat, warming your space and your spirits. This isn't just a survival tool, it's a massive morale booster. Cooking in a fireplace is basically campfire cooking, but you're indoors, out of the snow, with a chimney safely venting all the smoke outside. The simplest way is to use a fireplace grate. You can put a cast iron skillet, a Dutch oven, or a grill rack right on it over a bed of hot coals. Here's the key. Wait for the big, roaring flames to die down into glowing embers. That gives you much more even, controllable heat than open flames, which will just scorch your food. Another great method is using a fireplace cooking tripod. It's a metal stand that lets you hang a Dutch oven over the coals from a hook. This is perfect for slow-cooking soups and stews. You can just raise or lower the pot to control the temperature, lower for a boil, higher for a simmer, and don't forget the fun stuff, foil packets and stick roasting. Wrap potatoes, veggies, or fish in heavy-duty foil and toss them right into the hot embers. And of course, roasting hot dogs or marshmallows is a classic for a reason. It's a great way to get the kids involved and make it feel more like a camping trip than an emergency. Now, a critical safety warning: this is only for true wood-burning fireplaces. You must never, ever try to cook in a gas fireplace. They are not designed for it. Food and grease can wreck the components and create a serious fire hazard. Also, make sure your chimney is clean. The middle of a blizzard is the worst time to have a chimney fire. Keep an extinguisher handy and use long, heat-resistant gloves. The fireplace is an incredible asset. With a good stack of dry firewood, you can cook and stay warm pretty much indefinitely. Number 3. The wood stove. This is like the fireplace's more efficient cousin, the wood stove. A wood stove is a freestanding metal box made for heating, but most of them are absolutely fantastic for cooking on. They're a prepper's dream in a blackout, giving you heat and a flat-top cooking surface all in one. Instead of cooking inside the firebox, the entire top of the wood stove becomes your cooktop. It gets incredibly hot, basically turning into a big cast-iron griddle. You just put your pots and pans right on top. Now, the heat isn't perfectly even. You'll have hot spots, usually right over the fire, and cooler zones near the edges. This is actually a huge advantage. You can get water boiling fast over the hot spot, then slide the pot to a cooler area to simmer all afternoon. You get a surprising amount of temperature control with a little practice. Imagine waking up in a cold house, getting a fire roaring in the wood stove, and not only is the room warming up, but you've got a percolator of coffee bubbling away on top. You can make pancakes, fry bacon, make grilled cheese right on the surface. For dinner, a big Dutch oven full of stew can sit on the back of the stove all day, filling the house with an amazing smell. You can even bake in a Dutch oven on top by using a small trivet to create an air gap and putting some hot coals on the lid. Safety is the same as a fireplace. You need a professionally installed and regularly cleaned flue. You need proper clearance from walls and furniture. The stove gets dangerously hot on all sides, so you have to be careful, especially with kids and pets. But the biggest advantage is efficiency. It uses way less wood than an open fireplace and gives you that wonderful, practical cooktop. If you're thinking about a backup heat source, a wood stove is one of the smartest prepper moves you can make. Number 4. The indoor safe propane heater. I know what you're thinking. Propane inside? For decades, we've been told never to use things like camp stoves or grills indoors, and that is 100% correct. Those things can kill you. But technology has moved on, and there are now specific heaters designed and certified for safe indoor use. The most well-known of these is the Mr. Heater Buddy series. These things are a game changer for emergency prep. They are engineered with safety systems for indoor use. The big one is an oxygen depletion sensor, ODS. It constantly monitors the oxygen in the room. If it drops to an unsafe level, the heater automatically shuts off. They also have a tip-over switch that kills the unit if it gets knocked over. Because of these features, they're rated as safe for indoor use. And here's the best part: they're not just for heat. The top of the heater has a grate that gets hot enough to work as a small cooktop. It's perfect for warming a can of soup, heating up water for coffee, or even cooking an egg in a small pan. Now, it's not a high-power stove. It might take 20 minutes to boil a couple of cups of water, but it works. It's for those simple tasks that make a huge difference. You just screw on a 1-pound green propane cylinder, the same kind you use for camping, and hit the ignition. It's incredibly simple. Now, even though they're certified for indoor use, you still want to be smart. The manufacturer recommends cracking a window for fresh air. And just like with any flame, having a working carbon monoxide detector in the room is non-negotiable. But, and this is important, you should always check your local codes and read the manufacturer's instructions, because rules can vary. The Mr. Heater Buddy is popular for a reason. It solves two huge problems at once: heat and a way to cook. We're halfway through, and I hope you're already feeling a little more prepared. If you're finding this valuable, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I put out videos like this all the time to help you and your family get ready for anything. Also, let me know in the comments which of these you've used, or if you have another go-to method. Your experience could really help somebody else in the community. Alright, let's get back to the list. Number 5. Chafing fuel, canned heat. This next one is something you've seen 100 times at parties or buffets, but probably never thought to stockpile: canned heat. You know it by the brand name Sterno. It turns out it's one of the safest and easiest options for indoor emergency cooking. It's another one of those cheap, overlooked items that punches way above its weight class. This stuff is basically a gelled fuel in a can that's designed to be burned indoors. It's quiet, almost odorless, and has a very low carbon monoxide output, though you should still crack a window. The cans are cheap, lightweight, have a super long shelf life, and are dead simple to use. You just pop the top, light the gel, and you've got a steady flame for anywhere from 2 to 6 hours. Now, you have to know what it's good for. You're not going to sear a steak over a can of sterno. Its real strength is heating things up. A can of soup, scrambling an egg, or boiling water for coffee or a dehydrated meal. You'll need a little stand to hold your pot above the flame. You can buy cheap folding camp stoves made just for this, or just use a few bricks. And here's a pro tip: always put a lid on your pot. It traps the heat and makes things go way faster. One of the biggest advantages is how safe they are to store. The gel won't spill or evaporate. You can stick a case of them under a bed for a decade and they'll be good to go. When you're done, you can snuff out the flame by sliding the lid back on and even reuse the rest of the fuel later. For someone in an apartment with limited space, a folding stove and a dozen cans of this fuel is a smart, compact, and safe solution. Number 6. The alcohol stove. This one's a favorite for backpackers and ultralight campers, and for good reason. It's incredibly lightweight, has no moving parts to break, and runs on a simple fuel. Those same qualities make it a fantastic option for us. An alcohol stove is just a tiny burner that you fill with denatured alcohol, which you can find in the paint aisle at any hardware store. That's the best fuel because it burns really clean with almost no soot or smell. You pour a little fuel in, light it, and after a minute it will bloom with jets of flame. You'll need a pot stand for this too. Now, here's a major safety point. The flame, especially from denatured alcohol, can be almost invisible in bright light. You have to be extremely careful. Always assume it's lit until you've snuffed it out with the cap that comes with it. And the number one cause of accidents is trying to refill the stove while it's hot. Never, ever do that. Let it burn out and cool down completely. Keep the fuel bottle far away from the lit stove. Even though it burns clean, any flame uses oxygen, so crack a window. But with proper respect for the fuel, an alcohol stove is a very safe and reliable option. A gallon of denatured alcohol lasts for dozens of meals and stores forever. It's a step up in heat from canned heat, letting you do more real cooking while staying compact. Number 7. The haybox oven. Thermal cooker. Alright, this next one is a piece of low-tech genius. It's the original non-electric slow cooker, and it lets you cook for hours with almost no fuel. It's called a haybox, or more modernly, a thermal cooker. The idea is simple: heat retention. You bring a pot of stew, chili, rice, whatever, to a hard boil on another heat source, your gas stove, a wood stove, any of these methods. Once it's boiling, you put a tight lid on the pot and immediately stick it inside a super insulated box. This box traps the heat so well that the food continues to cook at a safe temperature for hours. You can make your own hay box easily. You just need a cooler or a cardboard box that's bigger than your pot. Pack the bottom and sides with insulation hay as traditional, but shredded newspaper, blankets, or towels work great. Put your boiling pot in the middle, pack more insulation around and on top of it, and close the lid. Walk away. 4 hours later, you'll have a perfectly cooked, piping hot meal. The benefits here are huge in a grid-down situation. First, fuel conservation. You only burn fuel for 10 to 15 minutes to get it boiling. After that, the cooking is free. Second, it's incredibly safe. Once it's in the box, there's no flame, no fuel, no CO risk. You can leave it completely alone. It's a fantastic way to tenderize tough cuts of meat or cook dried beans. This is a powerful tool that lets you turn a short burst of heat into a full, slow-cooked meal. Number 8. The solar generator and low-wattage appliances. This next one might feel like cheating, but it's not. You're not using power from the grid, you're using your own. I'm talking about a portable power station, often called a solar generator, paired with a low-wattage electric appliance. A solar generator is just a big battery with regular household outlets on it. You can charge it from the wall before a storm, or hook it up to solar panels to recharge with sunlight. A decent-sized one can power small kitchen appliances for a surprising amount of time. But here's the key. You have to use low-wattage appliances. Trying to run a 1,000, 500-watt electric kettle will drain your power station in a hurry. The real star of the show here is the humble crock pot, or slow cooker. A slow cooker on low only uses about 150 to 200 watts. A medium-sized power station can run that for 5 to 8 hours, easy. You can make a roast or chili all day long, just like normal. It's silent, there are no fumes, and you can use it anywhere in the house. Other good low-wattage options are small rice cookers or an instant pot, which is efficient because it cooks fast. Just look at the wattage label on your appliances. Anything under 500 watts is a good candidate. A microwave can even work, but only for a minute or two to reheat something. Of course, the downside is the cost. This is a significant investment, but if you want a robust, versatile backup system that can also charge phones and run lights, it's an incredible asset. It's your own personal, silent power grid. Number 9. The vented rocket stove. The rocket stove is a marvel of efficiency. It's a design that uses just twigs and small sticks and burns them in a way that produces almost no smoke once it gets going. The heat is focused into a pillar of flame that is perfect for boiling water or cooking with a single pan, and it does it with astonishingly little fuel. You can cook a meal with a handful of twigs from the yard. Now, traditionally, these are for outdoor use. They're an open flame. But they can be used indoors with one critical modification. You need to vent it directly outside. I don't mean just cracking a window. I mean setting the stove right next to a window and using a piece of metal ducting to create a mini chimney that channels all the exhaust and carbon monoxide safely outside. With that ventilation, a rocket stove is an incredibly powerful indoor cooker. Because they are so fuel efficient, they are great for a long-term emergency where you need to save your bigger firewood for heating. The intense heat is perfect for boiling water for purification, making pasta, or pan frying. The safety here is significant. You absolutely must have a foolproof way to vent it outside. The stove itself gets incredibly hot, so it needs to be on a non-combustible surface like a concrete floor, far from anything flammable, and it needs constant supervision. But if you need to boil a lot of water fast with minimal fuel, and you can vent it right, the rocket stove is one of the most powerful wood-burning options you can have. Number 10. Improvised and small-scale cookers. Finally, let's talk about some improvised options. These aren't going to cook a Thanksgiving dinner, but in a pinch, they can heat up some food or a drink, and that little bit of warmth can make all the difference. First, candles. We all have them for light, but a few grouped together produce a surprising amount of heat. You can buy or make a simple stand to hold a small mug a few inches above a cluster of 3 or 4 tea lights. They're slow, but they're incredibly safe and use a fuel you already have. Candle lanterns are even better. The metal top gets hot enough to gently warm a mug of soup or water while it lights up the room. Now for the more survivalist option, the tuna can stove. This is a brilliant piece of improvisation. You take a can of tuna packed in oil, don't drain it. Open the can, then roll up some toilet paper into a wick and stick it in the oil. Once the wick is saturated, you light it. The oil acts as fuel, and this tiny stove will burn with a good flame for over 20 minutes, plenty of time to heat up a cup of water. When you're done, put out the flame, pull out the wick, and the tuna is still perfectly good to eat. These methods are all about resourcefulness. It's about that prepper mindset of looking at everyday objects and seeing their potential. Knowing you can make a stove from a can of tuna means you'll never be completely without a way to make a little heat. So there you have it, 10 different, reliable, and safe ways to cook indoors when the grid goes down. We've covered everything from using the stove you already have, to wood fire, to modern tech. The key takeaway is this: you have options. You don't have to be cold and hungry in a power outage, but the most important step happens long before the storm. It's preparation. Take a look at what you have right now. Got a gas stove? Buy some lighters. Have a fireplace? Get it cleaned, and stock up on firewood. For everyone else, think about investing in one or two of these other options. A mister. Heater buddy, a case of canned heat and a folding stove, or an alcohol burner, are all cheap investments that give you a huge return in capability. Don't wait. The time to get your supplies and practice with them is now, on a calm, sunny day. Try it out. Build your confidence now, because that will be your greatest asset when the lights go out for real. Being prepared isn't about being scared, it's about empowerment. It's about knowing you have the tools and skills to provide for your family no matter what. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please share it with someone who could use it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more content to help you prepare smarter, not harder. Stay safe, stay prepared, and take care.